Dear Diary, I'm completely mystified by him. Like I've been put under a spell, an enchantment. Would his charms heal me and cure me from the loneliest of spaces in my heart? Or would the holes dig itself deeper? He came into my dreams last night, a guardian angel dressed in white. Could this be real? Or is he just my fantastic escape?
Hi beautiful souls, it's Tan here again today with another video in our Synastry series. And today we're going to be looking at Moon in Partner's 12th house. So this is a very interesting place to have your moon falling into someone's house. And the little diary entry earlier was written from the perspective of the house person and how they feel when someone's moon is jumping around there in their 12th house. So I have made a video to sort of explain what a synastry chart is, as well as another video to guide you into how to get a synastry chart done with a particular love interest or any kind of relationship that you're looking at. So I'll provide a link to that up there and in the description box below, so you can check that out first if you're not familiar with synastry, and then you can come back and watch this video. So the moon in a house overlay is really showing an area of life of the house person where the moon person would like to nurture to the core, into fruition. It is a place where the two people are meeting up and acting out their more intuitive nature, as well as some of their irrationalities, their fears, their insecurities, as well as their security needs. The intuitive nature of the house person's house is going to be provoked by the moon person's moon being there. So this is also a place where the two people are meeting up with their heart rather than with their mind or their intellect. So it's kind of like you're going shopping and I say this on my videos, then you're trying to buy a bag and it's a really nice bag, but it's so expensive. But you're willing to buy it because it has been handmade by a local craftsman who has poured his heart and soul into designing it and making it. And so it's very unique and special, and so you're willing to invest in that, even though it's got its little imperfections. This overlay is where our irrational imperfections meet another person in a specific area of their life. And this can be a place where the two people emotionally move each other, whether that's a more positive move or a negative one. And the 12th house is the house of our unconscious. It's this place we are at when we are sleeping and we are dreaming, and the things that goes on in our unconscious mind. It is a place of spirituality as well. It's where we are most egoless and at the spiritual service of the world. It has our fears, our deepest fears are there. The repressed part of ourselves are in the 12th house, as well as some of our hidden talents are also there. So the moon is already unconscious and intuitive. The 12th house is the most unconscious house. So the two people are really meeting here at a very unconscious level. So the moon person can intuitively sense or smell the house person's deepest fears, deepest insecurities, their sorrows, their loss, their unconscious baggage. You know, stuff that has happened in the house person's life, maybe when they were much younger, and stuff that they would like to express, but they just couldn't because of the way that they had grown up, and therefore they unconsciously, you know, maybe act out in ways in their lives based on the 12th house that may self-sabotage them. Maybe they're self-undoing, and they're not aware of it. And so there's this vague fear. The moon person senses all of this, and therefore the moon person has a high level of compassion and sympathy for the house person's sufferings, their loss, the way that they had undone themselves. And the moon person feels compelled to help the house person in this way. This can be a little bit of an exhausting place for the moon over time, depending on how awakened or what level of consciousness the house person has about their unconscious motivations for doing a lot of the things that they do in life. The only way that we make our unconscious behaviors conscious is that we have to trace back our past memories and, you know, go to therapy and things like that. So somehow the house person feels that maybe the moon could save them. But they're not sitting there planning this. They just feel like when there's somebody that really understands me, maybe somehow, you know, they could take away my pain. So the moon person may act out in a way that they can't explain, may act out irrationally in order to save the house person. So it does depend on how the moon is aspected. If it's with Mars, the house person is going to feel very disturbed by this. If it's like with Jupiter, this can be a big help. This can be a very healing placement. So we have to see how the moon person's moon is aspected. Over time, if the house person is, let's say, not very conscious and haven't done, you know, the internal healing, over time the moon person can feel a little bit exhausted and wary of the way that the house person may slowly leak out their fears onto the moon. Their more subtle state of sorrow and loneliness leaks out onto the moon person and can make the moon person feel a little bit tired. And the house person is, over time, slowly feeling like, can I trust the moon person or not? Can the moon person really cure my pain, or are they going to cause me pain? I'm not sure. But the house person, you know, the house person can't really do anything. The moon has access to these unconscious things about the house. They may try so hard to hold it back, but in a more romantic or close, intimate relationship, you know, this is gonna come out slowly and slowly, even if they try to hold it back. Unless there's really great Mercury or Uranus linkages somewhere else, it's really hard for the moon person and the house person to really communicate what they're really feeling here, what's really going on. If there's really great, you know, Uranus openness somewhere else in the chart, then it can make that communication easier, where you can actually communicate openly without judgment, with trust about the way that your unconscious mind is working in this relationship. But if there's not a lot of great communication, then the moon person may sometimes feel like they may ask the house person, what do you want from me? What do you want in this relationship? And sometimes, you know, the house person will say, nothing. I don't want anything from you. But the moon person can sense that there's something vaguely that the house person needs, saving or to feel better. But no matter how much the moon may try to communicate and talk about the unconscious mind and, you know, this is your behavior, the house person's not going to get it. Most of the time. They're going to be like, I don't know what you're talking about. That is not true, because it's their unconscious. They don't know that they're behaving in such a way. If the house person is really into astrology, psychology, then yes, they can be more aware of this. Spirituality, then yes, they can be more aware of this. Over time, the house person may wish or fantasize time in the future where they're really going to finally feel fulfilled or saved by the moon person, even though they may not feel it now. This is a Neptunian house, they may not feel it now. They may still feel lonely and empty now, but sometime in the future, this may get fulfilled. If the moon starts to over time feel pressure, or they're aware that they have given way too much and they've gone into this martyr syndrome kind of a situation, the moon person may decide to walk away because it's just so draining and a little bit too much, overwhelming for them. So to really work to get the best out of this overlay, the house person is going to have to first of all understand that nobody can make your fears go away for you. Nobody can... Let's say, for example, the house person fears never getting married in their life. The moon person is not there to help you with this fear. You cannot be the one to think that a part of you is going to feel better because of the moon person being in your life. You're the one that has to be responsible for your own fears. You really have to, you know, do some internal work and really think, why is this such a big fear for me? Are fears really real? Fears are generally, you know, if you look deeper down into fears, it's coming from maybe you feel that you can't fulfill certain social obligations. Maybe it's because you would like to have a partner because something happened in your childhood that causes this gap or this separation. There's something there, and fears a lot of the times are not really rational at all. Things can happen the way that you would like them to happen in your life without you ever having a fear and then needing something to reverse the situation of that fear. The more that you act on your fears, feed your fears, the more that you're going to attract that into your life, the more you're going to attract more fear. That's the law of attraction. So the house person is going to have to approach the relationship from a place of already happy, fulfilled, like they are not lacking anything, and they will get that back in return from the moon person. And if the house person can do that, there's a really great spiritual connection here. Intuitive spiritual connection. There's compassion that goes on beyond words. The moon person really feels what it's like to be in the shoe of the house person a lot of times. But the house person has to make sure that they're giving off. This is like energy. We're talking about energy here, the law of attraction here. The house person really has to give off that love, that good vibe, because they love themselves. They have the love from within. And so the moon person is going to give that in return energetically. And they feed in each other that way with real love, real compassion. So there's a lot of very magical things that can happen from this overlay, depending on how you're both going to work with it. And so the ultimate theme or the goal of this type of a overlay where the moon is coming into the person's 12th house is really for the house person to be aware of trust, who they can trust and who they cannot trust. Because if the house person, you know, has a lot of internal fears, like we talked about before, their energy is going to radiate that onto the moon, and so this can make the moon person run away. And then the house person is going to feel like, oh, I can't trust this person. Well, nobody's going to be there as nobody can really be there in that way for you all the time. But the moon person themselves also has to be aware of over-promising, of falling into the savior, martyr type of a role. And even though they may not verbally say that I can heal you, I can save you, it's within the feelings that are being fed back and forth within the actions of the relationship that the moon person can make it so that the house person feels like the moon person is promising to save them, to heal them, to always be there. But then the moon person may overpromise too fast and then not be aware of the overwhelmingness of this relationship, and then having to turn away and run away after that. And then the house person feels, I can't trust you, I thought I could trust you. But do you see how there's this illusion between the two people of thinking that they're going to be able to get something from each other, get the saving, get the feeling of saving someone, when there really needs to be a more reflective internal work as well as open communication in order to deal with this. So that is the ultimate theme of this relating. And so if you've got this with someone, I really hope that this video has kind of maybe brought some light into what's really going on underneath the surface in your relationship and how you can bring the magic into the relationship by doing your internal work. So that's my take on Moon in Partner's 12th house. If you have this with a potential love interest or anyone in your life, do comment below and let us know what your experiences have been. If you'd like this video, give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button if you haven't. If you already subscribed, then thank you very much for coming along. I do birth chart readings, synastry, relationship readings. All the information is on my website. You can check that out. And I'll see you soon, beautiful souls, in the next video with Moon in Partner's 6th house. See you then. Bye.